There are two things in this world that I love. One of them is going on adventures, and the other one is trains. I love trains, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think maybe it's because you can just sit down and relax and not have to worry about driving yourself somewhere. Just let some other idiot do it. I really like those little miniature trains that you go to, like the miniature train sets, and some guy has spent hours building this tiny miniature world. It's like that, but on a bigger scale. It's amazing. Fortunately for me, I live in Aotearoa, where it's really easy to go on adventures. Unfortunately for me, we don't have many trains, but there is a new train, a commuter train named Te Huia that connects two of New Zealand's most populated centres, Auckland and Hamilton. So I think to myself, how do I connect my two loves? My love for adventures and my love for riding trains. And thus my next great adventure was born. I would cycle from my house, which is around here, all the way to Hamilton, which is about 150 kilometers away. And then I would catch the train home to my house, which is here. But there's a catch. Because I work a 9 to 5, I can only catch this train on the weekends. And the only train that is worth catching is one that leaves on Sunday at 2:45 p.m. There is no other option. So this was no longer a leisurely cycle ride down the North Island. This was now a race against the clock. If I made it in time, I'd be enjoying a nice cruisy, leisurely train ride home. If I didn't, I would be stuck in Hamilton for the night, which is also the chlamydia capital of New Zealand, by the way. It's 4:09 in the morning. Raph is tweaking because he thinks it's breakfast time. Here's the plan. I was going to leave my house at some ungodly hour of the morning to give myself 2 hours of buffer time to prepare myself for lunch breaks, punctures, or any other unforeseen obstacles that might pop up. I would follow as closely as possible to State Highway 1, which is the main expressway between Auckland and Hamilton, but without actually riding on that expressway. Eventually I'd make my way to the Waikato River and I would snake along it all the way to the train station. Leaving early had another useful side effect, and that was that I would be out of Auckland before all the traffic built up. This now claims to be the city of sales, but really it's the city of just constant rush hour traffic. The only time to avoid it is to drive at 4 in the morning. Oh, God damn it! And no one was about at this hour, except for people working at 4 in the morning and meth heads, who probably looked at me thinking that I was some kind of apparition hallucination. I had the roads to myself. No stress, no worry about being pushed off by some raging maniac.
Fuck out of here, bastard.
Okay. Also, I have no idea what that guy said. If anyone can decipher it. I didn't hear it in the moment, and listening back to it now, it still makes no sense. All I can hear is bastard.
Fuck out of here, bastard.
Not long after my encounter with that strange cyclist,
Hello there.
I had made it to the southern cycle path, and I was making my way out of Auckland, and well before sunrise. We finished the cycle path. That's the end. That petrol station and this Macca's, it's a good indicator that I've left central Auckland. The rest of the way is just country roads, really. Matt says I'm turning onto a road called Heights Road. I'm not sure I like what that implies. As the sun began to rise through the thick cloud cover, a hunger began to gurgle deep in my loins. And this wasn't a hunger for adventure. It was a hunger for a pie and a V. I eat a lot. I don't know if you can see that, but I eat a lot of things. I had breakfast at that ungodly hour, but I was hungry again very quickly.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, what condition my condition was in.
I had planned to stop in Pukekohe and find some food, but strangely enough, nothing is open at 5:30 in the morning, which is ludicrous. So I cycled further on to a town called Tuako, where there was a bakery who had kindly opened for idiotic cyclists like myself.
But then I tripped on a cloud and fell.
A short pie and lollylog later, and I was hoofing it downhill to my first encounter with the Waikato River.
I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, what condition my condition.
Crossing this bridge meant that I was heading into unknown territory. Everything up until this point I had either driven on or run on or something of that kind, but everything past the Tuako Bridge I'd never been to before. So it was all new territory for me. It also meant that I was about to climb the only hill in this entire leg. Well, the only decent hill. See that spike right there? That's this hill. That's this one hill. It's quite a climb, and it decided to start raining as I was climbing the hill, which was lovely. But the clock was ticking, and I still had a good 100 kilometers to go before I reached my destination. The only option was to put my head down and just take rain to the eyes. Soon enough, the climb was over, the rain clouds had cleared, and the morning sun was beating down to dry off my cold and damp skin. I ploughed on into the countryside, weaving my way south. I was still 2 hours ahead of schedule, which gave me a fair bit of bravery to ease off the gas and give my legs a bit of a break. But that was foolish, because I did not know what I was about to reach. A few hours into my backcountry lollygagging, and I came across the Waikato River again. But on this side, the side that I'm on of the Waikato River, there's a lot less traffic, so there's a lot less maintenance of the roads. Gravel! I was not prepared for gravel. I have a road bike, not a gravel bike. See those wheels? They're not designed to go on gravel, they're designed for tar seal. Clearly, I hadn't done enough research because I had no clue that I would hit gravel. And I had no idea how long the gravel would go for. Was it 500 meters? Was it 30 kilometers? So I had two options. I could ride on with the much higher risk of a puncture, or I could get off and walk. But with no idea of how long this gravel road would go for, walking seemed like a bit too much of a risk, like I would waste too much time. I made a call, and I decided that if I wanted to reach the train in time, I would have to keep riding and hope to sweet baby Jesus that I did not get a puncture or multiple punctures, because I only had 2 inner tubes. Yes, tar seal. It was only like 500 meters, so it wasn't really worth worrying about. But my little off-road excursion had come at a cost. I had lost about 30 minutes of my buffer time, so instead of being a 2-hour buffer, it was now only an hour and a half buffer. I took a break on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. 90 kilometers in the saddle was starting to hit hard. My legs felt heavy, my shoulders were aching, and my ass was chafing. Eventually, I reached Huntly, which is my first backstop. Te Huia stops in Huntly. In fact, it's the last stop in Waikato before Te Huia trundles on to Pukekohe, which, if you remember, I was there 5 hours ago trying to find a pie. Huntly was a safety net. If I was behind schedule, I could still get home from Huntly. But that also meant if I carried on from Huntly, I would have to be confident that I could make the 2:45 deadline. I was sore, tired, caked in sweat. It was very tempting to just stay in Huntly and call it a day. You know, I'd still have the opportunity to ride the train home, but it wouldn't be from where I'd set out to go. But I decided to commit. I cycled right over those tracks and straight on to Hamilton. It wasn't long after Huntly that I reached Ngarawahia and another cycle path, Te Awa River Ride. This was the home stretch. I was off the road and coasting my way into Hamilton along 25 kilometers of beautiful paved concrete. I had done it. 150 kilometers of blood, sweat, and the occasional gravel road, and I had made it to the train station with time to spare, about an hour of just waiting at the train station. And I was absolutely starving, but I didn't want to risk leaving the station to find food, because if I went to find a Big Mac somewhere and the train had come and left by the time I got my Big Mac, then I'd still be stuck in Hamilton.
Mother Mary, pray for me. I don't think I'm around. Left about a week ago with someone who was found.
There's something beautiful about train travel. The ability to relax and enjoy the ride without the stress of constantly battling other drivers on the road. Te Huia was erasing all of my hard work, covering the same distance in about 2 hours that had taken me 7. And now I was the one overtaking the idiots in cars. Was it the best train I'd ever ridden? Definitely not, but this one felt earned. So what did we learn from this mission? Nothing, really. I just get bored and I feel like doing stuff. But I do know that I never want to cycle 150 kilometers again.